Kite to kick off for the Indianapolis Colts. The Jaguars to get the ball. Reggie Barlow, 84, and Stacey Mack, 34, to return it. Crowd standing, more than 56,000. And here we go from Indianapolis as the kick floats into the arms of Reggie Barlow, a yard deep. And from the end zone, he brings it to the 18-yard line. And now let's meet the Jacksonville backs and receivers. And the big addition, of course, Fred Taylor, seeing his first action of the season, his first action in 6 weeks. Brady lines up in the slot to the left. And Brunell going to the air on first down throws, and it's a fingertip grab made by McCardell to the 26. One big name missing, Leon Searcy, who would normally be the right tackle. They hope to have him back by mid-November. And now Taylor's first carry of the season, and you see right off the bat what he can mean to them as he picks up the first down, turning the corner.
The beautiful thing about Fred Taylor is he's a very patient runner, but he has the speed to get to the outside. The hole was designed to go off tackle there, but he bounces it to the outside and gets down the field. That's a great way to start. Your first carry of the year, you get a first down for your team.
From the 37-yard line. A minute into the game. Brunell, Taylor stays in the block. And then the catch is made. That's a first down. That's the rookie R.J. Soward, their #1 pick out of the University of Southern California, and filling the role as the third wideout.
Tom Coughlin said he wants to get R.J. Soward into the game more. Here he is out here on the outside. Nice job of coming down and finding the open spot in the zone. This is what he does so well. Coughlin thinks he's their best receiver with the ball in his hands after the catch. More ability than even Jimmy Smith.
From the Indy 46-yard line, Taylor cuts it back and gets taken down by Jason Belzer.
Mike Peterson, linebacker, University of Florida.
And now on second down and 7, Brunell under pressure, escapes a sack, then throws, and that's incomplete. Intended for the fullback Shelton. Josh Williams, number 96, who rotates in and out. He's a rookie out of Michigan, seeing more and more action, almost had a sack.
Well, this isn't the University of Michigan or the Big Ten. This is a great play. Here he is right in the middle here. Good move to get to the inside. Good speed after the quarterback, but that's Mark Brunell, one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the NFL. He just taught young Josh Williams a lesson.
Mora told us Williams was his biggest surprise in training camp.
Third down and 8. They spread it out. Only Brunell in the backfield out of the shotgun. And a timeout is called by Indianapolis, which is very interesting. The Jags were up against the gun in terms of the play clock, but Indianapolis had the wrong defensive personnel on the field, and they take a timeout. They had to take it with a play clock down between 2 and 1. It is third down and 8 out of the shotgun for Brunell, who goes deep and incomplete. Jimmy Smith couldn't get there. Last year, the leading receiver in the league in terms of number of receptions, covered by Tony Blevins.
Well, Brunell always comes fast out of the chute. You look at his statistics. The guy's passer rating in the first quarter is 143, and it steps down all the way to 58 in the fourth quarter. So he always seems to have a good drive right off the bat.
Brian Barker to punt. Terrence Wilkins, who suffered a concussion in preseason play, sees his first action as a run-back man here, and the kick goes out of bounds at the 11-yard line. And here come the Colts, and let's meet their backs and receivers. You have to love the way Edgerrin James introduces himself as every down back. He doesn't come out on third down, and he wants you to know it.
Well, we were out here 2 hours before the game, and the triplets were all working together. You don't get to be that great without putting in a lot of BTUs.
On first down, here is James, and he can barely get out of the backfield. It is second down now, call it 9, gain of 1 up to the 12-yard line for Edgerrin James on the first play. And Manning's first pass of the night, slant, caught. That's Terrence Wilkins up to the 25. So Wilkins, who had suffered a concussion in preseason, sees his first action of the year, and Manning goes to him immediately.
It's a slant pattern by Harris on the outside. You know, the one thing that the Jags want to do a lot tonight is drop back a lot of their zone blitzing. And one of the guys right there, Tony Bracken's right there, defensive end, dropping into coverage, taking the tight end. That left a huge hole, and Peyton Manning took advantage of it.
Wilkins fills kind of an Oz Hakeem slot for the Colts.
First out of the 24. Hakeem, the number 3 wideout for the St. Louis Rams. As Manning goes deep, and getting out in front is Marvin Harrison. And he goes all the way to the end zone for a touchdown.
Needless to say, that was one of the plays we saw him working on a scant 2 hours ago. They did it better now.
Though Wilkins may play the Hakeem role, Harrison plays the Isaac Bruce role.
You know, normally Harrison lines up on the right side, but the Colts changed things up on that play, lined him up on the left side against Aaron Beasley, and he had Beasley beat by 5 yards when he caught that ball.
You know, the attention to detail for a young quarterback from Manning is just astounding. The ball fake, amazing. He does all the little fringe things so nicely.
76-yard touchdown reception for Harrison. Mike Vanderjagt for the extra point. 89 yards go the Colts in just 3 plays. And 4 minutes into the game, it's 7-0 Colts. Nothing Indianapolis after the 76-yard Manning to Harrison pass. Barlow on the left, Mack on the right, back to receive. Tom Coughlin telling us yesterday he thinks one of the keys for Jacksonville now is to get the return game going. And let's see what Mack can do here. He had been the starting running back last week from the steady cam. He comes up past the 20 to the 22-yard line.
Take a look at how the play-action pass eliminated the pass rush. James goes this way. The pass rush is non-existent. So Manning has a clear view of this. Marvin Harrison getting behind the secondary. Peyton told me the thing about Harrison is that when he comes off the line of scrimmage the first 10 or 15 yards, the defensive back has no idea if he's going deep or if he's going to make a cut. That is key for his success.
First out from the 21, and on an end around, R.J. Soward gets taken down as he comes back to the line of scrimmage by Bernard Holsey.
Well, you know, concerning that quick touchdown for Jacksonville, Coughlin always talks about the teeter-totter effect with this team. 1 week the defense is up, 1 week it's down. 13-0 shutoff over the Bengals last week. You got to wonder, after a 3-play, 76-yard drive, is this the week where they don't play defense?
R.J. Soward's got to learn that you run a reverse, you better get all the way to the outside. You cut back, you run into the big guys.
Second and 9 from the 21, and this play is whistled dead before it starts. Mike Carey is the referee.
Before the snap, call start, offense, number 68, 5 yards, still secondary.
That's Brendan Stein. It gives us a chance to look at the Colts secondary. Here are the Colts defensive backs. And we have Chad Cota Mike tonight, and we will hear what he goes through in the first half at halftime tonight as part of our new feature as Brunell's pass is dropped by Fred Taylor.
Colts only had 10 interceptions last year. They got to get a lot more out of that secondary this year.
I would not want to be a secondary member on either of these teams tonight. A lot of firepower. These quarterbacks so confident. Got great receivers on the outside. Vic Fangio's got to figure out a way of stopping Brunell, and now Fred Taylor.
We got Vic Fangio versus Dom Capers tonight. I feel like I'm reading a Mario Puzo novel.
Third down 15 from the shotgun. In the noisy dome, Brunell stepping up to avoid pressure. He'll take off. Has to get to the 31 and gets necktied at the 28-yard line. Taken down 3 yards shy by Cornelius Bennett. So Bennett with a lot of spring in those 35-year-old legs in his 14th year stops him shy of the first.
I read earlier in the week, though, even Corny's not pleased with his play up to this point, but he's just breaking some adhesions, shaking the web out.
Kind of like us.
You know he'll be there for you. Biscuit's not flaky.
Nope. Here's Barker's kick, a beauty, a deep kick to the 14, fielded by Wilkins, and he brings it back to the 25. That's a 57-yard kick. A flag comes in at the end of the play.
They're going to get Billy Austin for a block in the back right as Wilkins caught that ball. He was hitting a Jaguar right in the back. Official took him a while to find his flag. Threw it late, but that's the call.
Well, Moore's got to love having Wilkins back. The guy brings over 2,000 yards, or mostly return yards, back into the lineup.
Illegal block in the back on the return team, number 47. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
I'm beginning to think we ought to let the punter go 15 yards ahead of where he should punt from and just eliminate the middleman on these things. It's every
idea.
punt.
Yeah.
Let's just cut to the chase.
Take the foot out of football, huh, Dennis?
Take the penalty out of punt run backs. That's something they think about on the competition committee every year. Here it is.
Right there at top of the screen. That's a real easy call on Kewaukee Thomas. Billy Austin with the illegal block.
So Indy will have it for the second time, leading 7-0. After we went to commercial, Mike Harry said that they picked up the flag. There wasn't a penalty, so the ball comes back to the 25-yard line where Indy starts this drive. And on first down, James makes the catch and picks up 4 to the 29-yard line. Now the Colts, as I mentioned, are coming off a devastating loss. They were ahead 21-0, and the last 4 teams playing at home with 14 days between games, as you can see on Monday night, all lost. So the Colts
what are you gleaning from that, Albino?
Well, you know, that Patriot loss last season turned their season around. On second down and 5 from the 30-yard line, a little toss back to James. The point is that I was asking Laura the other day, you know, is it better to have come off that agonizing defeat and played the next week, or to have this extra time? He said, I still haven't figured that out yet.
Talk about an agonizing defeat. What about you? The Raiders coming back from 21 up, down. Are you okay, my little friend?
I'm always okay. Aloha? Are we on the air? Third down and 5 from the 30-yard line. Edgerrin James splits wide left. Manning alone in the backfield and throws, and that's caught up at the 35-yard line by Terrence Wilkins, but short of the first down.
Yeah, the good news for Terrence Wilkins is that he catches the pass, first one thrown at him. Bad news is he ran his pass route 1 yard short. Wilkins gives the Colts a lot with quickness, but this is such good coverage by the Jags. No way, get that first down after the catch.
Here is Hunter Smith. Hunter Smith has punted 6 times this season, averaging a phenomenal 56.8 yards per kick.
56.8.
R.J. Soward back to receive it. Fair catch is called for and made at the 14-yard line. So another good kick.
Got a low bridge here, guys.
52-yard punt.
Can't follow those punts all the way up.
Almost hit the roof.
As we go to commercial, we were there the other night. St. Elmo's, the famous steak joint on Illinois Street in Indy. Remember those?
Hot, 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 hot.
Week from tonight, we'll be in Kansas City. The Seahawks against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Falcons-Eagles Sunday on ESPN. First down for the Jags from the 14-yard line. 6:44 to go in the opening period. 7-0 Indianapolis. Brunell throws, caught up at the 26 and taken to the 36 by Jimmy Smith.
Well, you talk about quickness. Al, you said he caught it at the 26 and got an extra 10 yards on the outside. Just a hook pattern to the inside here. He gets help on the inside by McCardle clearing things out. Look at the acceleration after the catch, 10 free yards.
Smith is on a complete binge. He's had over 1,300 yards receiving his last 10 games, most in history over a 10-game period.
Looked like Maurice Green going those last 10. And here he is, and he's wide open, and he makes a juggling catch, hauls it in at the 47-yard line, tackled there by Hollier.
Yeah, I know the Jags have got Fred Taylor back right now, but their offensive line is just smothering the Colts defensive line. And of course, Smith gets to the inside on Poole. Poole in a zone defense that time, turns him loose to the inside. Look at that concentration by Smith, knowing he's going to get hit there by a linebacker.
I'm not sure it wasn't a good thing that Taylor wasn't hurt during these games while this offensive line got its sea legs.
Meanwhile, hurt for the moment is Jimmy Smith, who goes limping off the field. And here is Taylor, stopped for a gain of 1 at the 47-yard line. So Smith shaken up as he hit the turf, and he is on the sideline for the Jags.
Well, this is why you make your #1 draft pick, R.J. Soward.
Well, a lot of people question that draft pick, but what Coughlin wanted, he wanted a bullet in his gun, a little more ammo for the arsenal.
2nd and 10 now at the 47-yard line. Under 5 to play in the opening quarter. Brunell throws into traffic, hits his tight end Kyle Brady across the 50, stopped at the Indianapolis 48, 5 yards shy of the first down. Jimmy Smith originally came up with Dallas, was waived by them, was hurt as a Cowboy. Philadelphia looked at him, they opted not to sign him, and then here he is since 1996 in terms of receiving yards, #1 in the NFL. 3rd down 5 from the 48-yard line. Brunell, it looked like it slipped out of his hand, or Bratsky might have tipped it on the way out and incomplete.
A lot of pressure on Brunell. He's been sacked 4 times a game these first 3 games. That's what I was referring to earlier when I talked about the offensive line.
Poor job of pass blocking by Fred Taylor. The right hand of Bratsky gets right under the left shoulder of Brunell. That's why that one came out end over end. Taylor's got to do a better job of picking up the defensive end there.
Brian Barker, been with the team since they were born in '95. Fair catch call for made at the 12-yard line by Terrence Wilkins. That's where Indy will begin its next opportunity with 4 minutes 6 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. And the Colts on top of the Jaguars, 7-7. Melissa, what do you know about Jimmy Smith at this point?
Well, Al, he just came over to the sideline. The trainers were asking him if he was okay. He said he was just shaken up a little bit. But right after that, he walked over to his teammates and said, "What just happened? I don't remember anything."
I mentioned he limped off the field, but what really happened is Hollier's knee hit Smith in the helmet, so he was limping off because he was wobbling. From the 14-yard line, this is James taken down by Brackens. And speaking of the Jags defense, let's meet the front 7. Kevin Hardy, a Pro Bowler last year, 2nd down and 9. Manning is 4 for his first 4 for 97 and a touchdown. Now his 5th pass of the night is also a completion, and a short gain to the 19-yard line for Marcus Pollard as we meet the Jaguar secondary.
You know, you watch Manning, and he is the football equivalent of the Iron Byron they use to test golf clubs. Everything is just textbook.
In the jeans, obviously. Dad Archie watching tonight. 3rd down and 5. And that is caught over the shoulder by Dilger, who breaks the tackle, and that gives him a first down. Aaron Beasley couldn't get him from behind. Otherwise, they would have been forced to punt. First down, Colts.
Not been a good evening for Aaron Beasley so far. Got beat by Harrison for the long touchdown. And now on a 3rd down, when he must make this tackle, he can't come up with it. Dilger is so tough to bring down. Takes 3 or 4, and Beasley finally comes up with a shot after he gets spun around.
Well, they're expanding Dilger's role a little vis-a-vis pass catches this year. Had 8 against the Raiders. It's mostly a blocker. They're loosening it up a little for old Ken.
From the 31-yard line. Corner blitz. Manning escapes.
velocity from this kid. He's going to be untouchable. That's one thing I didn't know he had in the package.
Well, you know, he's 6'5" and 235 pounds or so. He's got a little bit of quickness. Watch Beasley come clean, and Beasley misses another tackle. This time it's on a quarterback. He'll never hear the end of it from his teammates. Watch Wilkins find a hole. He knows his quarterback's in trouble about here. Big play.
From the 44-yard line. James.
Did Wilkins sit down there, Dano? That's one of my favorite phrases. They find a seam and they sit down in it.
Yeah, actually what they started to say was set down or come under control. It's always, you know, words get mixed up every once in a while, and it does come out sit down. Obviously, you're not going to sit down. You're just going to settle down.
Oh, I thought you meant they actually pulled a Barcalouser.
Have a seat, Dennis. You go ahead and sit down at this play.
Sit down, as you said in the seat, sit on your toes. Second down and 6 from the 48-yard line. Ooh. Larry Smith and Steve McKinney are the guys involved here. Smith, the defensive lineman, McKinney, the offensive guard.
You know, if you're going to be offsides, you might as well go ahead and get a free shot on the guy you're going to be battling with all night long. That time Larry Smith jumped into the neutral zone. He's saying he was drawn offsides by McKinney, and that's what this discussion's all about. Here he is right here. Watch the shot he gives on McKinney there. Totally defenseless.
Before the snap, false start. Number 81 of the offense. Unrelated to the action in the middle of the field.
Wow, must have flared a nostril.
Second down.
Hey, you know, McKinney's going to be talking to Marcus Pollard and saying, hey, don't be offsides. I'm taking a shot here.
Well, unrelated to the action was the call.
Wow.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. It looked like Smith was in the neutral zone when Pollard moved.
Yeah, that was at least a distant cousin.
Yeah.
From McKinney, I'm saying, hey, what did I do? I don't want to do it again. I'm getting pounded.
Second and 11 as the quarter winds down. Manning looking for his tight end, Dilger, and that's incomplete. And that is Kevin Hardy, who had his back to the throw, but was able to defense the play nonetheless.
Perfect timing by Kevin Hardy. The fans are going to think there's face guarding on this, but there's no such thing in the NFL as long as there's no contact. Watch the timing as Manning is out of the pocket. He lets it go. Dilger reaches back. Perfect timing as Hardy arrived just as the ball did.
Now, Dan, I know you had a meeting with Jerry Siemens where he told you that there is no such thing as face guarding, but am I hallucinating, or as a fan, have I not seen it over the years where a guy doesn't make a play in the ball, it's face guarding?
If you make contact, it's called face guarding, but if there's no contact before the ball gets there, it is not pass interference.
That's the key, and of all things, the Colts, complaining about the call and a little nonplussed here, are forced to use a timeout with 1 second to play in the quarter. So the Colts used a very dubious timeout earlier defensively. Now they use another one here, and we haven't even finished the first quarter. They've already used 2, Dan.
But when they were on defense and they used that first timeout, Al, it kind of worked out for them because it was a third down, very crucial situation. They didn't have the right personnel in the game, or they weren't lined up properly. That was then, but this is now, and this has caused exactly what you said, because they were arguing about the call.
Jim Mora was exorcised on the sideline.
Well, if that wasn't face guarding, it looked like Cagney jamming that grapefruit into that woman's face.
That happened 2 weeks ago. We mentioned the Colts and the Raiders. A 21-point lead erased by Oakland. Jaguars against the Ravens. In that game, the Jaguars actually led 17-0 and wound up losing it. Third down now and 11 on the final play of the opening period, and that is not caught. It is dropped by James, who had to come back, and then he would have had to spin around to pick up a first down. That's the end of the quarter. The 76-yarder from Manning to Harrison, the only score of the period. And Monday Night Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC station. Back in Indianapolis, Al Michaels, Dan Fouts, Dennis Miller, Eric Dickerson, and Melissa Stark at the RCA Dome. 7-0 Colts on a Manning to Harrison 76-yard pass. Now Hunter Smith to punt on the first play of the second quarter.
Only 52 yards on his first one. Hunter's off his game tonight.
That's fair caught by R.J. Soward at the 17-yard line. And let's get an update from Melissa.
Al, Jimmy Smith is still sitting on the Jaguars bench. He's surrounded by the trainers, surrounded by players. Keenan McCardle just came over to him, said, "You okay? Can you come back in?" He said, "I don't remember anything." He seems very shaken up and looks pretty out of it.
That, of course, will be here's what happened.
Dwight Hollier's going to come in, the linebacker, and knee him right in the head there. And it may not look like a big hit, but you tell Jimmy Smith it wasn't a big hit. Just perfect timing by Hollier, and that's why Smith is still on the bench.
And his spot is taken by Alvis Whitted, number 86. There he is, bottom of the screen. That's McCardell going in motion, number 87. Corner blitz, caught. Whitted up to the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 8, tackled by Jason Belzer. And we'll take a look at the numbers for the first 15 minutes of competition.
Well, with the Colts with a 7-0 lead. Of course, there's all that one big play, 76-yarder, but Peyton Manning's off to a great start. 7 out of 9 passing and that 76-yarder.
Albino, you're the local historian. What's that ball yard over there next to the
That's
football
the
stadium?
minor league home of the Indianapolis Indians, who just won the minor league World Series the other day.
I knew you'd have it.
This is Damon Shelton picking up 2. The Indians, a longtime Reds farm club, and now with different affiliation, went to Las Vegas and knocked off Memphis the other night to win the title. There you go.
I knew you'd have
Ah,
it.
my
You were
man.
all over that, Albino. You're beautiful.
That was good.
Back home again in Indiana. I also sing for you, too, you know, for a small fee.
I went over to the Indy 500 experience just to soak up some of the local color. For $7.50, they have an animatron of DJ Foyt smack you upside the head. Kind of a fun local experience, something to do.
$7.50, huh?
Yeah, $7.50.
It's a deal.
It's really lifelike.
I'll smack you up the inside the head for nothing.
Ear hold me, baby. Loosen me up.
Measurement here, and they're a little bit short of the first down. And so the Jaguars will have a 3rd and inches coming up.
Jaguars are very good, Al, at converting on 3rd down and short. One of the best teams in the league. Now they got Taylor back. They're even better.
21 of the last 22 drives.
Taylor with Shelton as the blocking back. McCardell goes in motion. Taylor behind Shelton. Big hole. First down. Up to the 38. Loses the football, but it wasn't a fumble. He was down at the 38-yard line. Dead ball there.
I was saying 21 of the last 22 times they've had the ball on the 1-yard line. They've put it in, so they obviously not on the goal line there, but they do know the 3rd and 1 drill.
Boy, that's just beautiful. Chad Cota coming clean on a safety blitz, and Fred Taylor made him miss, and he got a big hole to pick up the first down.
See the difference with Taylor and without Taylor, and here is Taylor. Good stutter step. Good move, 8-yard gain. So Freddie's already carried the ball 5 times tonight for a total of 33 yards. And there he was last year. Played in a couple, and he had the hamstring problem, missing 1, got back, missed 2 more. Back and forth he went.
It's a beautiful move. It's like when Magic Johnson used to hit the free throw line. He didn't quite have anything. He'd hold up for a second, then restart towards the hole. Beautiful hesitation step.
2nd and a short 3. Now they split Taylor to the left. Bring McCardell back to the right. And Brunell will take off. Slides to a halt. First down. Gets to the 49-yard line.
God, as we watch these teams week in and week out, what an added weapon that is when your quarterback has mobility.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I was looking longingly.
Feet of stone here. Yeah, you know, that's beautiful to watch. I wish I had that ability when I played. We got 2 quarterbacks that move around awfully well tonight. We've seen them both make key plays doing that.
From the 49-yard line. 5. about Brunell, he is mobile, and of course he's a tremendous competitor. The risk you run, though, with any quarterback, injuries when you begin to take off. And Mark Brunell, through the years, as you can see right here, does things like that.
Yeah, he's not exactly shy about contact. He wears the brace on his right knee for one reason. Tom Coughlin told him to wear it.
Well, I think with quarterbacks like Brunell and McNair, it's like college teams. You got to lose your game early in the season. You got to suffer your ding early in the season, so you're ready for the playoffs.
Second down 4. Brunell escaping, looking, and they will run out of bounds at the 49-yard line of the Colts.
You know, a lot of these plays are originating right at midfield on the Colts helmet. And I have to say, I don't know what Terrell Owens was thinking yesterday in Dallas. Dan, what did you think of that spectacle?
I thought it was real Bush League when he went and spiked or made a symbol of himself at the Star in Dallas. And then Emmitt Smith responded in kind, which was okay. And then Owens did it again.
I'm sending a game ball out to George Tigg for clocking him.
Well, the last thing that happened today was that Owens was suspended by the 49ers for a game. They called it he has been excused for a week.
Good.
That's a $24,000 excuse. And this is a Jacksonville timeout preparatory to their 3rd down and 8.
Well, York and Mariucci, the Bartolo, they're class acts. They had to do that. I mean, I bet you their own teammates were cranky about it.
Timeout Jaguars, 7-0 Indy. After the Jaguar timeout, it is 3rd down 7 at the 49-yard line. Showing blitz. Here they come. They run a draw, and it's Taylor short of the 1st down. He only gets to the 42-yard line.
Decision time now for Tom Coughlin. This will be about 4th and about a yard. And we talked about how proficient the Jags are converting short yardage situations. This is real tempting.
They look to be about as short as the length of Billy Truax's neck.
Must have been too long, because here comes the punter.
Well, he had a big neck, my friend.
He did.
He made
Probably still does.
He made Merton Hanks look like Quasimodo. Billy had the long neck, the boa constrictor neck.
Hold on.
Terrence Wilkins back to receive the Barker punt. Bouncing at the 5. Can it be saved?
Yeah.
Yes, it can.
James of the Australian volleyball competition.
That was Reggie Barlow. Going up in the air and keeping it from becoming a touchback. Saving them 18 yards.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Beautiful job by Reggie Barlow. Almost stepping on the line. Nice soft tap, too. He knew he had help from his teammates right there. That's a huge play. A difference of 18 yards. And the Colts are backed up in their own end zone.
Well, Reggie's the best in the league at handling punts when he receives them. He also looks like he's great on that side of it.
Now Indy from the 2 looking for breathing room. And it was moving up front.
Before the snap, false start. Offense number 74. Half the distance to the goal, remains 1st down.
One of the shortest penalties in history, as it turns out, to the 1. Let's go to Melissa. Melissa?
Fred Taylor feels like the Jags offensive line is beating the Colts defensive line off the ball. He just came over to the sideline, looked his 5 offensive linemen in the eye, said, if you stay with it, I'll stay with it, and we'll beat him down.
Well, Fred right now has carried the ball 7 times for 45 yards. The guy trying to get on track is James. Edgerrin's carried 4 times for only 6 yards. And now he's carried 5 times, and they may give him a yard on that. More like a half yard.
And a Dano.
Linda Dano. 2nd down and 10. And that is thrown to the back of Hardy, intended for Jim Finn.
Well, you know, Al, like you said, Edgerrin James is at 5 carries for 7 yards, but he's not, by far, not the only back who suffers at the hands of this Jaguar defense. They've only given up one 100-yard game in their last 19. I think that was Eddie George, and he just eked over the century mark.
And you know, the amazing thing about this defense, and really the Jaguar team in general, they're a very fast team. They may be faster than the Colts on this team, and the Colts on this turf. Colts were built for this.
Third down 10 from the 2. And that should be another procedure call. Manning flinching.
Ball start. Offense number 73. After this is the goal, it remains third down.
Calling on Meadows.
Isn't it great to see a young guy refereeing a game, though? I have nothing against this. I don't want to get into an age discrimination thing. But listen, you got all these young guys flying around at the speed of light. It's just nice to see a young man.
Mike Carey's been a referee for a few years now. He is one of the best in the league. Outstanding.
And Manning's trying to use a hard count to draw off the Jags, but he got Adam Meadows to come out of his stance that time.
Third down and 11. Manning fires, and that's through the hands of Marvin Harrison.
A little extracurricular.
Yeah, that extracurricular was Aaron Beasley, who we've chronicled having a rather rough first quarter. Had good coverage on Harrison that time, and after the ball went by Harrison, Beasley gave him a real healthy shove in the back.
Well, Aaron taking a little big out on Marvin.
Well, now you have Hunter Smith. The ball's at the 1. Hunters like to have a little more room than this, so they need a good snap and a real fast kick. Justin Snow to snap it. Here come the Jags, but he gets it away, and all things considered, that's a terrific kick. To the 41-yard line, R.J. Soward into Colt territory. Taken down to the 44-yard line after a 59-yard boot. That's tremendous considering the circumstances.
Well, he's got his average back up around 56. This kid is out of his mind this year.
8:46 left in the half. The Jaguars at the Colts 44 with Indy up 7-0 on Monday Night Football from Indiana.
Both quarterbacks off to good starts tonight. Peyton Manning with a 76-yarder to Marvin Harrison for his only touchdown. Great field position, though, for Mark Brunell to start this drive.
First and 10 for the Jaguars from the 44 of the Colts. Brunell chased, directing traffic, and then just throws the ball away. It'll be second down and 10. Well, Mark Brunell yesterday told us this about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We just got a lot of guys that have a lot of character, and the guys that we've got great team chemistry, something that we're developing and will continue to develop as the season progresses. Coach Coughlin's done a great job of bringing good guys in here, guys that work hard with great attitudes, that can get along with one another, that can work well together. And so I think that has created a great atmosphere in the locker room and on this team, and I think it greatly adds to our success and has allowed us to be, you know, a pretty good football team.
And that was Fred Taylor taking the handoff into the 38-yard line. He goes, and the good news for the Jaguars is that Jimmy Smith is back. Smith has come back into the game.
He might be back in, but these guys are so fearless. I don't know if I'd be audibilizing with him. He's probably still a little cloudy.
But the defense still has to account for number 82. That's where his real value lies here, perhaps.
Put him in the slot to the right inside McCardell. So the two big guys are to the right. Brunell looked that way. Now he has to go the other way. Now he seeks the first down and gets it. Run out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Driving the defensive line crazy.
He certainly is driving Ellis Johnson crazy. Number 62 has just done a great job the last two plays of getting penetration, just beating his man Brad Meester, the rookie, and getting right in Brunell's face. But because the Colts were in a man-to-man coverage in the secondary, once Brunell gets to the outside, there's nobody here, and he's got a nice running lane for the first down.
Well, if Brunell's going to be pressured, it's going to come from that side, Bradsky and Johnson.
From the 32-yard line, faking the end around, going deep, the coverage is good, contact is made, and it's Anthony Johnson, the intended receiver, covered by Jason Belzer. If it's Belzer for pass interference, it looked to me as if Johnson couldn't get to the ball the way it was thrown.
You know what they're going to call this? So I bet you they call this an arm bar against Belzer. It's been a point of emphasis for the officials this year is they don't want to see that arm come out by the defensive back, slowing down the receiver. And when they see that, there's the arm bar right there. When he sees that, he doesn't even consider where the ball is thrown, whether it's catchable or not.
Well, that looks like pass interference, but that Kevin Hardy thing, the hand is at the end of the arm. That might be the arm bar, but when you stick your hand in a guy's face, that looks like pass interference too.
Anthony Johnson just signed by Jacksonville. At one time he played for the Colts. First and goal from the 9-yard line. Quick fade. Smith. No, he's out of bounds. Covered by Tyrone Poole.
Well, maybe that's the fine line where the hit Jimmy took on the head earlier just clouds it just enough that he doesn't quite know where his feet are.
Well, let's see how close his feet were to coming in to the end zone for the touchdown. Beautiful spiral by Brunell to the outside. Great call by the official. Left foot was down, right foot out of bounds.
Just a little short.
There goes the red flag, so Coughlin wants to challenge this call. I'm not sure he's going to like it.
Does he have possession?
Well, yeah, it looks like the
on second look, the right foot is down, the ball is possessed. That's a touchdown, and Tom Coughlin was right to challenge this one.
Clearly he has possession. Right, left, and a real good chance this gets overruled.
The Jags had one overruled last week, gave him a touchdown. Keenan McCardle against the Bengals. First touchdown, only touchdown of the game in their 13-0 shutout of Cincinnati. I got to believe that this one's going to be ruled a touchdown.
Well, with all the duties that an assistant coach has, he now has one that's moved to the top of his list, and that's shouting down to the head coach before the ball can be put into play for the next snap and telling him you should challenge that. It's a whole new task for them.
Now, as Carey goes under and into the hood, so to speak, what he'll be looking for is possession and both feet in bounds. Initiated by we saw it there, the panel coming up as to how often plays are overturned.
Now, what game was I watching yesterday where somebody dove at the goal line and they said he came up short? And I read today that they were on the head coach because he didn't challenge it quickly enough.
That was the Tampa Bay Jets game.
Yep.
And that clearly was a touchdown by Jaquez Green. They ruled him out at the 11-yard line, and there's no way he ever went out at the 11-yard line. Question of possession. That, to me, looks like possession, both feet in, touchdown. The officials are told to look at the feet first and then to look up for possession.
The receiver's second foot was inbounds for a score.
Wow.
Yeah, they got that right.
Not in charge with a timeout.
Even though there was a slight question as to possession because he was cradling it as opposed to controlling it with his hands, he had possession. From the moment he was able to tuck it, gets both feet in, touchdown Jacksonville.
And this will clear up a headache for Jimmy Smith getting a touchdown like this. And you really do have to give some credit to the assistant in the box that saw it quicker than we did.
Now the point after by Steve Lindsay, the regular kicker. Mike Hollis underwent back surgery, and he's gone for about a month and a half. Lindsay with a flag down. Lindsay has a great leg. The question is the accuracy factor.
Well, you know, Lindsay has to produce for these guys because Hollis is out for 4 to 6 weeks. And if they have to bring another kicker in because Lindsay's not up to the task.
Outside defense number 38. The penalty will be enforced 5 yards on the kickoff.
They might have to IR Leon Searcy, and they don't want to do that. They're saving a spot for him. They'd like to bring him back in December.
Game tied at 7, halfway through the second quarter. Monday Night Football. Next week we go to Kansas City. Dennis, where do you see that scene at Arrowhead? Seattle against Kansas City.
I hear Arrowhead ESPN. My friend Rob Lowe tells me it's the loudest stadium in the league.
I
Any
love
truth
that
to
place on a Monday night. It's unbelievable. This is down in the end zone by Peyton Williams.
See, there's Lindsey's real strength. 22 touchbacks last year, most in the league. Oh,
Now we've got a fight at the 15-yard line. Got a couple of them, in fact.
Wow.
We had a preliminary bout, and then there was the main event at about the 14.
Right in the middle of it, I see Mills Lane. Where did Mills come from? He hustles. Give him the hustle award.
Everybody's got their ears, though. Nobody got one bit off.
Yeah. We've got Bernard Holsey, Sharon Stith were a couple of guys we know were involved. Manning looks on with bemusement.
That's because he wasn't out there. He had a front row seat. Take a look at this little battle here. 79 is Halsey, and he just lights up that young man. That's Eric Stoltz, number 50. Stoltz didn't like it. He comes right back. And then T.J. Slaughter shoves Scioli around. There's Stoltz.
By the kicking team, number 50, and by the receiving team, number 78. Those fouls offset. First down.
Slaughter, Scioli, at least the right guys are in the fight. Stores.
They got the wrong guy, though. He said 78. That's Tarek Glenn, offensive tackle. That wasn't Glenn. That was Bernard Holsey, 79.
Tarek Glenn squats 600 pounds. I have no idea what that means. I just like to say it. He squats 600. I don't think you're hearing me.
I hear you.
Okay.
I think pounds or kilos.
No, I just squat 600. Let's not belabor it.
From the 20. This is James to the outside, picking up 3. Ronaldo Wynn forcing him out of bounds. Rushing yardage so far tonight, the Jaguars with 74, and James with just 10 yards, and then they have a -1, which is factored in as well on a passing play. In the meantime, Taylor has carried 8 times for 50 yards to spearhead the Jaguars. Game time, second down and 7 from the 23. No, it's not caught. Marvin Harrison did not have possession. The ball hit the turf.
Well, that 76-yarder woke the Jaguars up because since then they are on people.
You really get a feeling that the Colts are struggling. Real tight coverage out there by Bryant. Don't see Marvin Harrison miss that one very often. Look at this offensive line looking around to see who's blocked. Because the Jags do such a good job of zone blitzing where they'll drop a defensive lineman out, the offensive line has to adjust on the fly.
Well, you know, when Olmeyer asked Coughlin what we should watch for, he said Fernando Bryant on Marvin Harrison, 2 of the best athletes on the field.
Third down and 7. Manning with happy feet gets it away, but short of the first down. Ken Dilger, and that's another 3 and out for the Colts.
And another play by Fernando Bryant, number 25. Manning had a lot of time to throw, but the clock is ticking. The pressure's coming. Finally, he finds Dilger, but not before Bryant is right behind him with this tackle, before he can pick up the first down. Right now, the Jags are winning the battle of field position.
Hunter Smith. Another rocket. Fielded, dropped, picked up at the 17 by Sauer. And the rookie from USC goes out of bounds up at the 23-yard line. That's a 56-yard boot. Game tied at 7. And as we go to the break, we'll take a look at the Slippery Noodle Inn. Oldest bar in Indiana. Noodle has hosted blues legends since 1850 AD. That's Victory Field. We talked about that before. There it is, the home of the Indianapolis Indians.
Nice Bull Durham field.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Nice of them to light it up for Monday night.
The
Nobody there.
Yard. Why have they screwed it up with the 3 divisions? I can't even watch ball anymore. I don't mind the wild card, but the 3 divisions is driving me nuts. Speaking of baseball,
yep.
Australia's so far ahead of us with this Olympic thing. I think maybe we should call down there and ask our friend Bob Costas who wins this game. Because I think it's over there. I don't quite understand the time differential, but this game might have already been played in Australia. Huh?
You mean our game?
I swear I was watching.
If it was, I'm going right back to the sports spectrum right now. I'll tell you that.
I fell into some cosmic wormhole the other night. I was watching Mary Lou Retton live.
Yeah, the thing about this battle between our running backs, Fred Taylor, part of his motivation to come back tonight to play against the Colts was to play against Edgerrin James. Played against him in high school and, of course, in college. Taylor from Florida and James from Miami. Old-time rivals.
Ah, so this goes way back, eh, Dano?
Talked about the Colts and coming off that horrific loss, that 21-0 blown lead to the Raiders. Here's what Belzer said about it.
It's been the toughest week of my career. Been the toughest 2 weeks because when you have a game like that, and I played terribly, speaking for myself, and when you come to play and the troops kind of rally around you, I felt I let my teammates down, and so it's been a long, painful, excruciating 2 weeks. It really has.
And the Colts are used to it. It's the 4th year in a row they have blown a game in which they had that big a lead. And that's why it's so important for them to rebound tonight, because otherwise they'd be 1-2 and they're going on the road for 3 in a row, including at Buffalo next Sunday. First down, Jaguars at the 22-yard line. Over the middle, picked off at the 32-yard line by Mike Peterson. To the 23 he goes, the second-year linebacker out of Florida, their second choice in last year's draft, with a big turnover.
In essence, that's the player that they received for Marshall Faulk.
Really not sure what Mark Brunell had in mind here. Colts were in a zone defense, and Peterson picks up his first career interception. Not a lot of pressure on Brunell, but not a lot of Jaguars in the picture either. McCardle, the intended receiver.
That's his first scepter ever?
Second-year guy out of Florida, where he was Javon Curse's teammate. First career interception.
He and the freak together?
Yeah, baby.
First and 10 at the 26 of Jacksonville. And now Manning throws, and that's dropped in and out of the hands of Ken Dilger. Second down and 10. Mark Brunell, normally a guy, not just normally, but through the years, a very low interception rate, especially in the last couple, as you look at the last play.
And maybe that's why Dilger didn't catch the ball.
Yeah.
Came right over the top of our umpire.
Garth DeFelice, the umpire tonight. Second down and 10 at the 26-yard line for the Colts. Edgerrin James, and he can't get out of the backfield. And what a great job Jacksonville has done. It's one of the keys that Coughlin talked with us about yesterday. He said Edgerrin James is the key to stopping the Colts, and that's exactly what they've done tonight. 7 carries, 9 yards.
And they've done it with quickness out of their front four. Brackens and Walker, Larry Smith, great penetration that time. The Colts were trying to run a counter play.
Well, it seems like Coughlin has a specific genius for shutting down your big hitters. No 300-yard passers in 31 games, only 200-yard receivers in 22 games. We talked about the rushing earlier. When they want to shut you down, they shut you down.
And that last play, Dilger was pulling, and James ran right into him. Now a wobbly duck is caught for the touchdown by Wilkins. Boy, what a weird play that is. Wilkins and Pollard are in the same neighborhood. The ball looks like a wobbly duck, and the next thing you know, they have the lead.
Welcome back, Terrence.
Sometimes it's hard to hit a knuckleball. I think the Jags couldn't hit that duck as it was coming down there. I thought Pollard was the intended receiver. Looked like Wilkins stepped in front and intercepted it for a touchdown.
They ran that out of their Wilbur Wood set.
And the faces of the Colts indicates we got away with one.
You bet.
2 receivers in the same neighborhood. Wobbly duck. Moore's face expresses it all. Vanderjagt's conversion is good. And so the interception by Peterson. In go the Colts, and Indianapolis is back on top. Another look.
Here's Wilkins all the way over here. And Pollard lined up right in here. Actually, he's out there. Now watch how close they come together here. Looks like Pollard's the intended receiver. It's thrown behind him. And look what I found.
It's nice to see Jimmy Morris smile on the sideline. The guy was wired so tight in New Orleans. Looks like he's got a new perspective.
You know, if it wasn't a wobbly duck, Wilkins would have never caught it.
Right.
That's a spiral. It goes right by Wilkins. Look at his reaction here. It's a one-handed catch almost. Look what I found.
Went to the Scroogey.
There's no way that ball was intended for Wilkins. That ball got away from Peyton Manning. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
You know,
he's good and lucky.
You know, the quiver of the ball made it like levitate for a second and just sit there so he could get in at the last minute and pick it off clean.
It looked like Curtis Martin's pass to Crevette yesterday in the Jets and Tampa Bay game.
It was like an airborne Statue of Liberty play. The ball just hung there for a second until he whisked it away.
Scissor play. Love to see that one on a chalkboard. Not quite the way they drew it up, but it's 14-7. Danny Kite to kick. Barlow and Mack back to receive. Reggie Barlow. Back to the 20, and a flag is thrown at the end of the play.
You know that Manning is saying, you know, if you run that route a little bit deeper, I can throw you a spiral and it won't look like I overthrew Pollard. Guarantee you. Peyton Manning, like all quarterbacks in this league, have thrown some that have been intercepted. He got away with that one that time.
Right on the horn, calling his girlfriend. He's a good boy, this Peyton. You know who his neighbors were when he was a kid?
No, who?
Ann Rice, who wrote Interview with a Vampire, and Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails. This kid was definitely the creamy white center of a dark spiritual Oreo down there in the city on the Delta.
Growing up in New Orleans, the penalty, meanwhile, is against the Colts.
Boy, that's
a 15-yarder.
And normally it's automatic against the returning team.
Didn't get the call from Mike Carey, but it's a 15-yarder against the Colts from the 35-yard line. Taylor swinging to the short side of the field. He gains 4. Let's get an update from Melissa Stark. Melissa?
Tom Coughlin knew what Terrence Wilkins was capable of. Remember, Wilkins missed the Colts' first 2 games because of his 3rd concussion that he suffered 6 weeks ago. But Coughlin made a special tape of Wilkins' highlights from last year to show the players how dangerous he is. He's one of the most explosive, quickest guys on the team, and Peyton said he couldn't wait to get him back because he's one of the few players on the team that they have specific plays designed for.
Even if he ran the wrong route. 2nd down and 6. And is caught up at the 50-yard line by Jimmy Smith as the Jaguars get quickly to midfield. And there's a flag down because Brunell got hit.
Well, you know, while Wilkins was away, Jerome Pathan did a nice job, too.
Well, Brunell might have gotten hit, but Coughlin is saying, what is that? The call is against Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's going to be against Fred Taylor, a chop block. While the defensive end was engaged with the offensive tackle, Taylor went low, and the flag came in. Fred's having trouble with his pass blocking tonight.
Personal foul, chop block on the offense, number 28. Going low, number players in contact or luring a blocker high. 15-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Like I was saying, Pathan had 8 receptions in the first 2 games. He and Wilkins start taking pressure off Harrison. This offense is going to be even more open.
Boy, that's a good call. That's why that rule is in effect, because Taylor could have seriously injured Bernard Halsey as he was engaged with Zach Wiegert. Good call by the officials.
2nd and 21 now. The Colts with 6 penalties tonight. The Jaguars just 2, including that one. Inside handoff to Taylor, and he off by Josh Williams, setting up 3rd and long. Under 4 minutes to go now in the first half.
Really getting some good momentum swings in this game already just in the first half. Tony Baselli, who's getting back from a knee injury to his right knee. Check him out, number 71. When he's healthy, he's as good as anybody in the game. Oh, a club move there on Brad Scioli. You gotta like the nastiness of Baselli. Not often you see an offensive lineman with that type of mentality. Woo!
Number 2 choice overall in the 95 draft. 3rd and 19. Brunell sets up a screen. Anthony Johnson, and a great tackle is made at the 29-yard line by Jason Belzer. Staying with his man and tackles him after a short gain, 4th and long.
You know, you're talking about Baselli. I saw a great quote from him. They asked him why the red zone offense wasn't working. He said, I don't know. I blocked the guy in front of me. Let the coaches figure it out. You got to love that quote.
You notice the Jags are running behind Baselli a lot tonight with Fred Taylor.
Parker's kick.
A little low, returnable.
This is Wilkins. The man who scored the touchdown on the pass from Manning brings this one back up to the 28-yard line. 2:41 remaining in the first half.
Hey, I'm excited for halftime. We got a midget league football team game coming up. I think one of the teams is the Bengals.
Who, by the way, Bruce Coslett leaves as the head coach, and Dick LeBeau takes over after their horrific start. Manning, and there's a wrestling match going on with no flag, caught by Terrence Wilkins. Loose ball, but the play is dead at the 39-yard line. Wilkins wrestling with the defensive back on all the way down the field.
You know, this is a new wave of offense in the NFL. You throw the ball to 2 guys. You throw it to Pollard, and you throw it to Wilkins, and Wilkins makes the catch. Again, 2 guys in the same spot. No pizza, but a catch for Wilkins.
Now, Dano, that's pre-designed. That just was inadvertent.
I think we're seeing something new in the NFL.
34-yard gain, and now James, his first big play of the night, and he ends it with a little forearm shiver on Darius.
I think they're feeding off Baselli because this cauldron's heating up, gents.
Well, one thing James is, he knows what his stats are tonight. He's seen Fred Taylor get off pretty good so far. He made a statement at the end of that run, picking up the first down and then delivering the big hit.
That's the Sweetness Payton finish.
Yeah.
2-minute warning.
Inside 2 minutes. Let's go back to the long pass play. Watch Wilkins catch this ball after wrestling with Jason Kraft. And now watch Aaron Beasley come up and steal the ball. Wilkins was never touched down. The official's inadvertent whistle cost the Jags big time.
It did at the 25-yard line, first down. Colts to James, cuts it back, takes it to the 15-yard line.
Wake-up call for Mr. James.
One timeout remaining for the Colts. Clock continues to roll. Indy without a huddle, which is the way they played most of the game against the Raiders. And this is caught in the end zone by Payton. Touchdown Colts.
Thank you, Payton, for getting me off the hook. Was rambling on about him earlier during that call. But he made a beautiful play there.
It was a beautiful route to the corner, but the throw could not have been any better. You talk about a high strike. It gave Payton enough time to relax his body and get his feet in the end zone.
Well, Laura told us that Payton loves throwing out of the no-huddle. Gets a chance to show all his tools, his acumen, the grasp of the field.
Now, he's the best at it since Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills. When Kelly had Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed.
Okay, wait for a whistle.
With Edgerrin James and Harrison and some of these other receivers, Payton's got a lot of tools.
Vanderjagt for the extra point. Peyton Manning is now 11 for 17. He has thrown for 207 yards in the first half and 3 touchdowns.
The form is perfect. This is a beautiful spiral, unlike his last touchdown pass. Now watch Pathan just taking it easy here. 1 foot in. There's the drag. Touchdown. And again, a good job by the officials right on it.
Pretty close, because if the right knee comes down before the left foot, it's not a touchdown.
Well, the thing I love about that Raider game is Greg Biekert said he had figured out the Colts no-huddle calls. And then he announced it in the press and told him what numbers meant what. And I'm just thinking to myself, if you had broken the code, if you did have the Rosetta Stone, wouldn't you sit on it till playoff time? Would you announce it to the Colts that you thought you had broken their code?
Well, linebackers are that way, though. I mean, they want credit. And, you know, Biekert was calling out the signals in the first half, and they weren't stopping him. I think it had more to do with turnovers and field position.
Yeah, me too.
The reason the Colts collapsed against the Raiders. But
I can only see Gruden going up to him saying, Greg,
hold that thought.
You might want to hold that.
Yeah.
Reggie Barlow and Stacey Mack to receive the kick from Danny Kite. This is a short kick. This is Stacey Mack fielding into the 16, but he can only bring it back to the 25. As part of our halftime show, we've been mic'd up during the last 2 weeks. First, it was Denver defensive back Ray Crockett. Last week, Cowboy linebacker Dexter Coakley. Here's what it sounded
wait
like.
2 weeks for this one.
And tonight it is
4 years
Chad
for Monday
Cota.
night, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
For this, 4 years, that's second year. It's been a long time. Yeah,
That's
appreciate it.
Chad Cota before the game. He's been mic'd up, and we'll hear what he had to say. Take you right into the game as part of our halftime feature.
I love that idea. The NFL's got to open it up before McMahon forces them to. That on-field candor is great stuff.
First down from the 25. Brunell throws it away. Either Vince or Ed.
You might already be a winner. Well, you know that's what that league's going to be selling. They're just going to be all over it with cameras and mics, and I just think, well, the NFL, to give them credit, with the ump cam this year and stuff like that, they are loosening up, and I think it's a wise decision. This is the best product right here. We got to show it in the best way.
Letting us bring you in the booth?
I don't know about that. That's still in play.
Second down and 10 from the 25. Brunell throws, caught at the 41 by Jimmy Smith. Into Colt territory, all the way to the 44.
All right, I say Jimmy's cobwebs are officially cleared here.
Mark Brunell with his best pass of the night. Watch how he hits Jimmy Smith in stride on the crossing route. 2 steps into his break, the ball's right on him, and then extra yards after the catch and into Colt territory. 31 yards.
And a timeout taken by Jacksonville. They have 1 left. This is a big drive here for the Jaguars. And again, we talked about the fact that this is a team in Jacksonville. Their nemesis clearly is the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee beat them last year, twice in the regular season, once in the playoffs. The only losses sustained by Jacksonville. By the way, in 3 weeks it will be Jacksonville back on Monday night at Tennessee. But their other nemesis now is this team, Indianapolis, another team they're going to have to get by if they want to get to the Super Bowl. Next week, we go to Kansas City. Ricky Waters and the Seattle Seahawks going to Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs at 9 Eastern and 6 Pacific. Dennis, it is the greatest smelling stadium in the world.
I'll take your word for that.
Barbecues get going in the
What does it wear? New Day de Blois or what?
Unbelievable.
Little Chloe?
Little Chloe, yep. First and 10 from the 44. Sacked from behind, and Ellis Johnson finally gets his man. Several near sacks for Ellis, and he finally gets him.
Well, he beat Brad Meester, the rookie, again. And normally he's lost Brunell when Brunell is rolled out to his throwing hand side. That time Brunell went right, and Johnson got him.
Second and 12. Brunell over the middle. That is hauled in at the 37. Clock keeps rolling. Jimmy Smith short of the first.
Important for the Jags to at least get a field goal out of this drive here at the end of the first half.
Right now they need a first down. Third and short 3. They have one timeout. Brunell throws, caught, 29. Brady, first down. Do they take their timeout here, or do they spike it? And Coughlin says, save the timeout, spike the ball here. Taking a lot of time, and then finally they take a timeout. The Colts take a timeout. The Colts took a timeout?
Unbelievable.
How can they do that?
That gives the Jags at least 2 more plays, maybe 3 more plays.
I'm looking down. I don't even believe that.
Isn't that the second time the Colts have done that?
Well, to me, all 3 have been dubious.
I think they were just flat tired and disorganized.
But what an opportunity you give to the other team with only one timeout.
They were going to be
their disposal.
Now there were going to be 5 seconds run off the clock before Brunell could have got that ball snap. That's time for 2 plays, usually 8 seconds per play. But with 21 now and a timeout in hand, Jags are in great shape and a first down.
Yeah, but Dan, if they were tired, if they were in disarray, don't you have to almost call it there if you're going about to give up the 7 just because you're not set?
I think you got to suck it up and play.
You do, and the thing is, Coughlin's saying spike the ball, so it's not as if they're going to run a play anyway. Tom is saying, I want to save the timeout, get up there and spike it, and Indianapolis does him a big favor.
Okay, forget the fatigue. What about the disarray?
They're still in disarray. It's about 4 guys just run out of the huddle.
First and 10.
I was 2 guys in the huddle there.
I know.
Is Jimmy Smith covered by Cota. That saves their timeout. 16 ticks left.
You know, and again, we got to go back to the fact that the Jags have Steve Lindsey as their kicker. The blitz from the outside by Poole. Cota comes over and knocks Smith out of bounds. You know that the Jags are going to start taking shots at the end zone here. They may not trust Lindsey very much.
2nd and 6.
John Taylor field of that.
This ball is as well thrown as you can possibly throw the ball. Watch number 97. That's Cornelius Bennett. He's got to make a play on this ball. 3 inches over his fingers. Poole doesn't make the play. Unbelievable.
Now the extra point by Lindsey. So Jimmy Smith, who has missed almost half the half when he was dinged earlier, has now caught 7 balls for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Talk about confidence a quarterback has in a receiver. Well, this will give the quarterback confidence. Throwing it into coverage. Wow. Poole's got to make that play, and Bennett's got to make that play. They got to be the most surprised guys out here.
Now, Dan, is Brunell just complete? Obviously, Smith's his #1 receiver. We haven't seen McCardell at all. Are they doubling on him, or is he just favor Smith so much we're not seeing Keenan?
Well, Keenan's only got 1 catch, and you would think that a guy that when it came into the game as the leading receiver last year with 116, which is an incredible number, that you might get a little attention on Smith instead of McCardell.
Mark Brunell, one of 6 quarterbacks still active in the NFL who went to the University of Washington. The other starter would be Chris Chandler. And then we have Warren Moon, of course. We'll see Warren next week, the backup in Kansas City. Billy Joe Hobart, who's one of the backups to Peyton Manning, another Husky.
Didn't I say something earlier, Al, about first 1 to 50?
Yeah.
Good call.
And I thought you were, at the end of the first quarter, I thought we had no chance. Now we have 35 total points. This is a ground ball fielded at the 15-yard line. And coming back out to the 36-yard line goes Peyton Williams. Peyton's galore all over the joint here tonight.
It's kind of like Peyton's place.
Yes.
Sorry, Dennis, I stole that off your joke sheet.
Hey, come on. Listen, you go down with your own plane, my friend. You're not throwing that weak cheese my way.
There's the comparison tonight. Jimmy Smith, after Harrison had scored on the third play of the game for Indy, a little kneel down here by Manning will end the half. And the Jags get back in it with a huge touchdown at the end of the half. Indy leads by 7, 21-14. Coming up next, the Lexus halftime show. Chad Cota has been mic'd up for tonight's game, and in the meantime, let's go to Melissa Stark. Melissa.
All right, Tom, a huge touchdown just now to pull within 7. What do you need to do to continue to finish those drives and get in the end zone?
Well, we can't turn the ball over, first of all. I really do think we can have a good mix of run and pass. We got to stop the deep ball. The ball in the air, we're not playing the ball in the air very well at all. So it's going to be in the second half. We're just going to have to play better football. Defensively, we got to find a way to stop them. Offensively, not turn it over.
All right, thanks, Coach. Back to you, Al.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Look down at the RCA Dome here in Indianapolis. Good first half. Coda, Mike for sound. We'll take a look at Edgerrin James as well on our Lexus halftime show coming up from Indianapolis, where the Colts lead 21-14 at halftime. Monday night always special in Indianapolis. 6th time Monday Night Football has been hosted by the Good Burgers of Central Indiana, and tonight Marvin Harrison is scoring early. The Jaguars were able to tie the game at 7, and then Indy took a 14-point lead before the Jags came up with a very big touchdown at the end of the first half. Jimmy Smith has scored twice tonight. Good first half, 21-14 Colts.
How about 4 touchdown passes in the last 7.5 minutes of that second quarter?
After an interesting enough first quarter, the game started out as a low-scoring affair, turns into anything but. Kick fielded here by Jerome Pathan at the goal line, and Pathan all the way out to midfield before he is corralled at the 49-yard line by Mike Logan.
So it looks like things might calm down in the second half, huh?
Yeah. The great thing about this is he's so patient, and he's got such good field awareness as to where the opening is. Makes a move up the field there, and now picks up some blocking and gets caught from behind because Logan had the angle on him. But what a way to set up your offense all the way out to midfield to start the second half.
You got Pathan on kickoffs, Wilkins on punts. It's like having 5 downs. Got an extra offensive player on the field.
From the 48, Edgerrin James to the 50, his 10th carry of the night. Total of 33 yards for last year's rushing champion. Look at the numbers, Dan, through the first 30 minutes here.
Well, we talked about those 4 touchdown passes in the last 7.5 minutes. Even up pretty good here for both teams as far as total yards are concerned. Something the Colts have got to address are too many penalties and poor usage of their timeouts in that first half.
Very poor. Second down and 8 from the 50. Fake draw. Manning hangs in. Wide open. That's Wilkins. And again, Wilkins, who suffered a concussion in preseason, is seeing his first action of the season tonight. And they have him right back in the middle of things. That's his 6th catch.
Well, you know,
watch how quick he is. Watch the defensive back, Jason Kraft, leave our picture because Wilkins gave him the impression he was going deep. That's what happens when you've got blazing speed, as Wilkins has. Kraft has to play deep, and a quick move gives him open by 5 yards.
Terrence Wilkins providing a nice compliment to Marvin Harrison. First and 10 from the 29. James, a hard 3 to the 26.
Well, you know, that last play was a vivid reminder. The Colts only gave up 14 sacks last year. And yeah, they have a nice young offensive line, but Peyton Manning is a tough guy to sack. He's got that Marino-like feel. He knows when it's collapsing. He knows when he has to up the ante, up the speed. The kid's just very tough to get hold of back there. He gets it off so quickly.
So confident. Look at it as he gets everybody lined up, directed in the right direction. Cool.
Second and 7, a fumble. And the Jaguars have it at the 29-yard line. Manning pulling away too quickly, and Kevin Hardy recovers.
There we go. Dennis. We talk about how cool he is and everything. And we got to remember, he's just in the league 3 years. And his center, Jeff Saturday, this is only his second year. First year as his normal center. Looked like it was a good snap. Lack of concentration by Peyton Manning. Big turnover for Kevin Hardy. Looked like Manning was looking out and was distracted by something that was happening in the secondary and forgot the first thing, and that's the ball.
Now at the 29-yard line for the Jaguars, down by 7. They start with Freddie Taylor. Taylor seeing his first action of the season. He joined us late. He's been out with a sprained knee since the 11th of August. So his first action in 6 weeks. And looks good tonight. Freddie has carried the ball 11 times for 59 yards, wearing a brace.
He's wearing a brace and hating every minute of it, but you got to do it coming back off an injury. That's a big one. It doesn't seem to slow him down, though. He's still able to make those sharp cuts.
Second down and 7. Brunell. Great movement, and then Jimmy Smith is there at the 47, but the pass is a little too tall. Let's go to Melissa for an update.
Al, I just talked to Jaguars trainer Mike Ryan. He said center John Wade has a sprained right foot, and he is out for the rest of the game.
So Wade, the third-year guy out of Marshall, is gone, and that means Quentin Newyear, who had been a starter in prior seasons, there he is the center. So he's a guy that Brunell is used to working with.
You think his nickname may be Happy?
Third down and 7. Brunell stopped at the 36-yard line. Bernard Whittington able to get him by the arm and knock him down.
I just saw McCardell throw his hands up in exasperation. I think he's even wondering when they're going to start looking his way.
Well, the one thing about Brunell, he's very elusive in the pocket, getting away from Thomas there, but just too many yards to go to pick up that first down.
Yeah, Keenan might have been asking for too much there. He didn't have much time to look for anybody, much less Keenan.
Let go,
Brian Barker. This is Wilkins, the 21-yard line. Looking for some blocking, not there. Flag comes in, though, thrown at the 39-yard line. Anytime you run sideways, parallel to where you make the play, it's almost impossible for your blockers to all deliver legal blocks.
Well, they're expecting the return man to go the side of the call, and when he reverses his field, they're kind of left with nothing else to do but to go reach out and grab somebody.
Sure.
But you got to love about the Colts returners is they are all looking.
Holding by the receiving team, number 47. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Their every thought is put towards breaking it all the way. You can see nobody's thinking about doing, you know, okay returns. They're trying to break it big every time.
Penalty on Billy Austin. Colts have the ball. From the 9-yard line on first down. This is caught by Marcus Pollard. And he takes it up to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, the best part about that play is Pollard got rid of Terrence Wilkins and got a reception. There he is, number 81, very valuable member of this offense because he can play the H-back, he can play tight end, he can split out wide. Didn't play football in college, was a basketball player. Ball came out after his knee was down.
And Fernando Bryant is hurt. The cornerback for the Jaguars is on the Indianapolis side of the field, so the trainers have come over to look at him.
Here comes Bryant, number 25, right there. Gets a whole pile. Like it might have been a leg injury, but he's walking pretty good coming off the field. That's a good sign.
A little shin splint action.
All right, as they assist Bryant off the field, let's get an update from Eric Dickerson. Eric?
Well, now talking about great quarterbacks, Peyton Manning is one. He just tied Monday Night Football record, 3 touchdown passes set by Earl Morrall back in 1970 against the Kansas City Chiefs.
and a half. Speaking of Monday night records, how about Eric Dickerson in 1988? ED that night not only scored 4 rushing touchdowns, but did it in 19 minutes in a 55-10 win over Denver.
Told me he was begging Ron Meyer to get back in the game. I want to build my stats.
I think Jimmy Orr is still waving to Barrymore.
1st and 10 now from the 25-yard line. Action on the left side.
The snap. False start. Offense. Number 78. 5 yards. Remains first down.
Tarek Glenn. Jim Mora, the oldest coach in the league. Dennis mentioning the youngest looking 65-year-old on earth. I remember doing a game about 13 years ago. I said he was the youngest looking 52-year-old on earth. Good genes.
He works at it too.
He does. He's in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw him on a Stairmaster once. The guy was going up like Edmund Hillary.
Without tensing. 1st and 15 from the 20. And that's a loss for James. Let's go to Melissa.
Al, quarterback Fernando Bryant is sitting right here on the bench. The trainers are taking off his sock, looking at his left ankle. It looks like a left ankle sprain, but we're not sure exactly what it is at this point. We'll keep you posted.
Taking his spot, at least in the base defense, is Jason Kraft, who has already seen a lot of action tonight in the nickel.
Yeah, it looked like his left ankle there at the bottom of that pile got rolled over.
Second and 16 from the 19-yard line. Underneath Wilkins, and he gets sandwiched. And part of that sandwich was Tony Bracken's. The other sandwich, part of the sandwich was provided by Smengi. When you get whacked by a 271-pound guy and a 270-pound guy, not like getting bracketed by 2 cornerbacks.
Smengi is like a word Jerry Lewis would use in the 17th hour of the telethon. You know, Smengi! Lady!
Oh, man. I want to see the annotated Dennis Miller on that one. 3rd down and 7 from the 28. Makes the catch up to the 41.
Well, who would have thought we'd come in here and see Payton and Wilkins as the big go-to guys when you got Marvin Harrison on the field. He's got the 1 catch. I think he has a nice per-catch average, though, right, Dennis?
Well, 1 for 76, but what happened is that 1 came against man-to-man coverage. Dom Capers told me this week that they were going to double-team Marvin Harrison and single the other guys because Harrison is, you know, he caught 115 last year.
From the 41 on 1st down. Manning rolling, being chased by Hardy. Throws underneath Dilger. Upended at the 42 after a short gain. Tackled by Brackens.
You know how hard it is to run sideways when 2 guys are running forward right at you? Talk about a cool customer. There's Manning being chased by Brackens and Hardy. Kind of just lured him in and tossed it right over there at Dilger and picked up all of 1 yard.
I know, it's nice the way he sucked him in there and then Dilger was able to release.
You see Brackens all over the field coming after Manning and dropping in coverage on those zone blitzes.
Almost halfway through the 3rd quarter. No scoring here in the 2nd half. 2nd and 9 for the Colts from the 42. Manning hit in front. On the 45. Pulled in by Payton. Down the sideline. He goes to the 20-yard line. 38 yards.
And Tony Brackens just unloaded on Peyton Manning after that ball was thrown. Watch the shot. Actually, he didn't get him. Tarek Glenn did a nice job of running him behind Manning, and then Payton is loose in the secondary with his 3rd catch of the night, and still Marvin Harrison only has 1.
Looks like Payton got his Schwerb on while Wilkins was out, man. He's your 3rd receiver. You're in great shape.
Manning now over 300 at 304 yards for Payton. flag is thrown.
Holding. Offense number 50. 10 yards. Remains first down.
That is Larry Moore. That'll move it back.
Number 50 is Larry Moore. There's the hold right there on Seth Payne. Good call. This man right here, our referee, is going to make that call. Gary, so Mike was right on it. Good call.
God, he had a hold on his arm like Bobby Knight on a student.
Please, not here in Indiana.
I thought this game was in Jacksonville.
It's been a long season. Play clock down to 1, first and 20. And that is caught. It's Wilkins threading his way to the 23-yard line. Talking to Bobby Knight, that looked like a basketball play.
You talking about a brave little man. Terrence Wilkins, 5'8", 175 pounds. Watch him come in on this screen. McKinney, 76, gets out in front. Moore looking to block somebody. And Wilkins looking to get down. Not a bad first night. Coming back from a concussion suffered in the preseason. Wilkins, player of the night so far for the Indianapolis.
He's a great return guy last year. I don't remember him catching this spot.
Second and 13. Manning to the end zone, knocked away, and a collision in the end zone, knocked away by Kawaki Thomas, who is a rookie from Georgia Southern, and then Thomas and Renee Stewart with a violent collision.
Now down the sideline, ball hangs a little bit too far to the inside, but Kawaki with the great play on the ball, and Stewart with the great play on the receiver.
Well, I talked to Renee before the game tonight. He told me he was on my old syndicated talk show one night with a rap group, and he certainly put the big rap on him there.
Man, what a shot.
Surprised he jumped up from that one.
Third and 13. Remember, Wilkins coming back from a concussion of all things. Now to the end zone, and is James. Does he have possession? No. He had it briefly. It looked like he was going to get possession with his feet in. Nickerson and Darius covering on the play. Couldn't control it.
Manning lofted this ball perfectly over Hardy Nickerson. Watch this ball come in. Little pump fake there. Right over the top of Nickerson, 56. And Donovan Darius comes over there. We may have a challenge on this one.
Yeah.
Check this out. He's got possession.
Well, the question is, does he have possession with both feet down?
I tell you, this guy is right on the spot, though, our back judge.
Back judge is Keith Ferguson. Ball is rolling around.
I think Darius has got his left hand in there, just punched it out just in time.
I do too. I don't think they overturn this.
There may not be enough evidence.
Remember, the original call is no touchdown, which means you must see indisputable visual evidence to overturn that call.
And that's the new evolution in the replay system. Head coaches are factoring that in. It's not like, what do they think of it? Is it enough to overturn it? And that isn't, I don't think.
Well, that's interesting from that angle. It looks like he does have possession, but are his feet down? That's what it looked like in real speed, real time.
I think their first instinct is to not overturn. So you better have a real good picture. And I'm not sure this tells the story.
The problem is you can't see possession and the feet at the same time. From that picture there was no possession.
It's Nickerson who actually gets his hand in there to dislodge the ball. Manning, that's his reaction to seeing the officials say no.
How good was that play by Hardy Nickerson at 35 years old to stay with Edgerrin James out of the backfield?
Well, Hardy's still got it. He had his first game ever last year. We had an interception and a fumble recovery in the same game. So
Coughlin saw his team score on a challenge tonight, as they did last week. Hardy Nickerson is the man who dislodged the ball. Mike Carey in the hood right now. And the call is going to come up momentarily as Carey works his way back.
The Indiana fans invigorated by the replay process.
Here it comes. Here's the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The ball was moving when the second foot came down. Indianapolis will be charged with their first timeout.
The Indiana fans completely hating the replay process.
I think they got it right. I mean, there was enough doubt not to overturn the call. What do you think, Dan?
Well, you can't see his feet. Now watch the ball right here. Doesn't quite have possession of it. That's a good call. Whether the fans here at the RCA don't like it or not, I think the officials got that one perfect.
Heck of a play by Hardy. He had 1 nanosecond to pry that out, and he did it.
Now you have 4th down, so it's a 41-yard field goal attempt by Mike Vanderjagt. First field goal attempt of the game for either team to try to make it a 10-point lead. From 41 yards out, Vanderjagt's kick is just inside the right upright. So they lose the challenge. It costs them a timeout, but they do get 3 and lead by 10 with 5:32 to go in the third. Monday night in Indianapolis. Remember coming here for the first time in '88. What a night that was. Halloween night.
Gotta love the fan waving the umbrella inside the dome. They have simulated rain here to give you that full effect.
Danny Kite's kick is downed in the end zone by Reggie Barlow. So the Jaguars will start from the 20, down by 10.
Wow. Stat I gave you earlier about no 300-yard passes against the Jags for 31 games just went out the window because Peyton's at 311 now.
First down, Jacksonville at the 20-yard line. Brunell begins this drive with a 4-yard gain on a pass to R.J. Soward. Soward, their top draft choice. Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, of course, are 1 and 2, and they want to bring Soward in to give Brunell another weapon.
Still a little shocked at how little's going McCardell's way.
Yep. Colts 2-to-1 edge in passing yards over the Jaguars. 2nd down and 7. This is Fred Taylor picking up 1. 3rd down now.
It's almost as if that decision by the officials not to overturn that apparent touchdown or alleged touchdown has fired up not only the defense, but it's gotten this crowd back into it as the defense is calling for some help.
I know the crowd has gone ballistic. I haven't seen this anti-technological tenor since I got to go back to Kubrick's earlier work.
Third down and 6 from the 24. Blitz, pass tip, incomplete. 3 and out. Frustrating night for Tom Coughlin.
And a great defensive stand by the Colts. Brunell trying to get the ball off quickly. Just a 3-step drop. Colts recognize it. And right in the middle looks like Mike Peterson, 52, with the right hand on it.
Barker's kick. Boy, Barker's done a wonderful job angling the kicks tonight, giving Wilkins no room to roam. Not only in terms of distance have the kicks been good, but the angles have been sensational. The Congressional Medal of Honor Memorial here in Indianapolis is the nation's only memorial honoring America's highest award for military valor. A look at that beautiful shrine.
Audie Murphy.
Big Monday here in Indianapolis, where their Colts Lead by 10. They have the ball at their own 24-yard line. First down. James. Good-sized hole. Takes it up to the 31 for a gain of 7 on his 13th carry of the night. He's now netted 43 yards. Edgerrin James out of the University of Miami. And again, when he was drafted, everybody in football pretty shocked that they would opt for him and not Ricky Williams. Marshall Faulk going to St. Louis. And guys, this has turned out to be the type of situation that was great for both teams.
Well, you know, in retrospect, Ditka should have traded his whole job for James.
Interesting point. 2nd and 3. Faking to James. Manning seeking the first down and has it, and then gets tackled out of bounds, and that'll be a penalty on Ronaldo Wynn. They threw a couple of flags, and it might be overruled. It's the type of situation where one official has one angle, and it will be. Another official has another angle.
Personal foul. Defense, unnecessary roughness. A late hit out of bounds on number 97. 15 yards, automatic.
You know, you don't want to go late on Peyton Manning at the Colt bench because you're taking food out of those guys' mouths.
Well, Ronaldo's just hustling here.
Right.
And that could have been picked up, but he was 2 yards out of bounds, and Manning was clearly heading out of bounds. So Bryant should have just let him go.
Now it's at the 48-yard line. First down for the Colts. Jags defense has to stiffen with under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. James taken down after a gain of 4 by T.J. Slaughter, backup linebacker.
Offense coordinator Tom Moore is putting the ball in the hands of Edgerrin James to take time off the clock, but also this offensive line. There's Tom Moore, longtime assistant in this league, now the coordinator for the Colts here. Howard Mudd is offensive line coach. Has got these guys fired up. They're coming off the ball a lot more quickly than they did in the first half.
And Edgerrin's got that kind of Gale Sayers thing where he looks like he's able to make moves in the air.
On 2nd and 6, fake draw, buys time, Dilger in a sandwich, and that's incomplete. T.J. Slaughter back to cover and perhaps tip it away.
Talking earlier about them expanding Kent's role, but he's dropped a couple he could have had tonight.
Slaughter may have been the key there.
Yeah, not bad for a rookie. 3rd-round pick. T.J. Slaughter playing middle linebacker there in that nickel coverage.
He tipped it.
Just got his right hand on the ball, I think.
3rd down and 6 at the 44-yard line.
Mama Dilger, I apologize.
Out of the shotgun, Manning. And that's a little underthrown as Pathan had gotten open, would have had the first down, and Archie's pup mad at himself.
Yeah, he should be, because if they could continue this drive, they could take all the wind out of the Jaguars' sails with a field goal or a touchdown. But big stand there for the Jags. They got the benefit of a poor pass, the poorest pass of the night by Peyton Manning.
Well, that's where Coughlin's toughness permeates his team. They needed a stop there. This game's probably out of hand, and they got the stop they needed.
Hunter Smith the punt. R.J. Soward, and he floats a punt down to the 14-yard line with 1:57 to go in the third. Jags get it back. Indy by 10. Aerial footage tonight provided by Budweiser's Bud 1 airship floating high above the RCA Dome, originally named the Hoosier Dome.
Well, you know, they call it a dome, Al, but it looks like one of those tennis bubbles to me. Could this deflate on us, man?
It could. It is Teflon-coated fiberglass.
Wow, look at that. Look like George Shakiris in summer stock.
From the 14-yard line on first down, this is Taylor going nowhere. Bernard Holsey finishes him off. defense, and that's going to be the key to this team's success this year. Vic Fangio is the defensive coordinator. In the last 22 years, the Colts have sent one defensive player to the Pro Bowl. One.
That's incredible.
Who's that?
Second down and 12 from the 12. Brunell, safety. Chad Bratsky with the two-pointer for Indianapolis.
You know, Bratsky, 12 sacks last year, all of them at home. Must like the turf here. That's an odd statistic.
I tell you what, what's really odd is that just his first this year. What a great time to come up with a sack. Bratsky, who led the Colts last year, as you said, Dennis, with 12. All of them here at the RCA Dome. But Brunell had a lot of time to throw. You got to give some credit to the secondary. Watch as he sets. There's nobody near him. Doesn't have anything on the outside or won't pull the trigger there. And then Bratsky pulls him down with basically one hand.
Well, you know, with all the free agent gaffes that go on in this league, the misjudgment of talent, I think Polian got exactly what he wanted with Bratsky.
It makes it 26-14. The Colts leading by 12. And now Jacksonville to punt or to free kick it. As Brunell and Coughlin go over the chart. The free kick from the 20 by Parker. Fielded by Peyton Williams at the 16-yard line. And he brings it back up to the 37-yard line.
How would you like to be named Peyton on the Colts and not be Peyton? I think this kid might be lost in the shuffle.
Not even spell it the same way.
How many times a day does he hear, "Hey, Peyton," turn, find out it's not him?
Occasionally Peyton turns around. Meanwhile, the Colts with 125 yards and the Jags -2 in this period. The half ended with a 7-point differential.
Really got to give credit to the Colts defense tonight. They've outplayed the Jaguars totally.
From the 37 now. James to the 38-yard line.
Now, Dan, I noticed obviously the Jags are playing great D, but the zone blitz usually translates into sacks, and I might be mistaken. I don't believe they have one tonight. Is Capers altered his scheme tonight?
Well, what was done is so far for the Colts, their offensive line has been able to pick it up. They practice against the zone blitz concept because Dom Capers' coordinator at Carolina was Vic Fangio. So it's no surprise to Mora the defensive scheme that the Colts are facing.
So they know the drill.
Second and 9 from the 38. Manning guns it to Joger. That's a first down at the Jacksonville 45, and that will take us to the end of the period. A quarter in which the Colts scored 5 points and the Jaguars scored none. End of 3. Indianapolis 26, Jacksonville 14. And the Monday Night Football returns after this message from our ABC stations. Start the fourth quarter. The Indianapolis Colts at the 45-yard line of the Jacksonville Jaguars. First and 10. Indy up by 12. Edgerrin James. And he's really picking it up here in the second half. James has now carried 16 times for 55 yards. Third quarter dominated by Indianapolis. Here are the numbers through 45 minutes of play.
Absolutely, Al. The domination, you can see the passing yards, but also the total yardage. Jacksonville just has not been able to get anything going here in the second half. You got to give a lot of credit to this Colt defense.
Marcus Pollard, tight end, is limped off for the Colts. 2nd down and 2 from the 38-yard line. Manning. Didn't look like a designed play, and again, he really pays the price as Hardy Nickerson tackles him.
No, I don't think that's design. I don't know if you want Peyton Manning bootlegging.
I think Peyton may have gone the wrong way as he came back to hand the ball to Edgerrin James, but he knew what he needed for the first down, just didn't have the speed to get away from Hardy Nickerson.
Too valuable an entity to have him going around the corner.
Nickerson started his career with the Steelers, then to the Bucs, and picked up the biggest free agent pickup by the Jags. Renee Stewart is hurt. There's Stewart on his knee.
You know, I look at Nickerson.
It'll be 3rd and a short 1, and as they work on Stewart. Melissa, what do you have for us?
Al, Jaguars trainer Mike Ryan has been very busy tonight. Defensive end Joel Smingy strained his right calf in preseason. He's strained it again tonight. His return is questionable.
I was saying, you look at Nickerson, you look at Searcy down here. I know he's on the IR. Carnell Lake. I'm wondering how the Steelers let quintessential pros like this out of town, and Cordell Stewart gets $27 million. It does not seem like the money was as well spent as it could have been up there. How do you let Hardy Nickerson out?
Well, they let Nickerson go a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. And there's been a lot of good years in between. These are the guys you win football games with.
The chickens have come home to roost in Pittsburgh.
Look at that. All our monitors are blowing on, Albino. You're going to have to take us in on instruments. You're the only one I trust with this.
Take off, land us safely. Meantime, we'll do a bunch of aerobatics, right?
You are instrument approved, my man.
You got it, man. 3rd and a short 1 from the 36-yard line. James, and he drags Slaughter to the 31-yard line and a first down. Speaking of Hardy Nickerson, here's what he sounded like yesterday.
When people get around me, they automatically feel a little tougher. So, you know, we're working on that as a team. You know, it takes all 11 guys. It takes building or earning respect every time you set foot on the football field. And that's what guys flying around. When people put on the tape and review your game, they should see 11 guys flying around making hits and discouraging anybody else from running plays that we may have seen the week before.
Right now, the only guys flying around are the Indianapolis Colts as Wilkins makes the catch, and that's a first down at the 10-yard line.
Manning is too quick for this pass rush. Watch Wilkins get down the field, turn to the outside, and when he looks up, the ball is halfway to him. He doesn't have to worry about anything. The defensive back, Beasley, is a non-entity on this play because Manning is getting back, getting set, and letting it rip.
Boy, does he know when to get rid of it, huh?
Oh, he's got great
unbelievable
timing.
instincts.
1st and goal, the nose of the ball on the 10. It means they cannot get a first down without scoring a touchdown. James gets about half of the 10.
Well, the Jaguars got to be thinking one thing right now, turnover. If the Colts score a touchdown here, you can forget about this one. They have got to start stripping the ball. They've got to find a way to get the ball back for their offense. And the Colts look so confident right now. That offensive line pushing around the Jags.
Second and goal at the 5. Colts trying to drop the hammer on the Jags by getting it into the end zone, which would make the lead 19. The fade, fingertip, and he's out of bounds. Terrence Wilkins juggles, can't stay in.
Great concentration by Wilkins.
Pretty good coverage by Jason Kraft, too, number 29. Quickness by Wilkins. Little shove there. That should have been called.
Yeah. Little jab to the face. Flick the jab on.
Yeah, the officials didn't see him. He pushes Kraft away right there. That's offensive pass interference.
Wow.
And a beautiful replay. Clearly out of bounds, though.
Third down and goal now from the 5. if they limit them to a field goal, they're within 2 touchdowns. Clearly, one of them would have to be followed by a 2-point conversion. But there's a huge difference between being down by 15 and being down by 19 at this point in the game.
Well, and a question for me, for Peyton and his offensive line, how do you turn loose Tony Brackens, their best pass rusher? Manning didn't have time to find Dilger and throw him a good pass.
Mike Vanderjagt on what will be a 23-yard field goal attempt. Hunter Smith to hold. And he tacks on 3. With 11:31 left in regulation. Indy now by 15. Danny Kite's kickoff. And a little confusion at the goal line with Stacey Mack taking it away from Barlow. And at least turning it into a decent run back. Normally you'd want Barlow to take it back, not Mack. Brings it back out to about the 35. Key drive for the Jags, down by 15. Clock becomes a big factor now. Brunell on first down, throws, caught up at the 40 and then dropped, incomplete to Damon Shelton. Update from Melissa.
Al, Jaguars trainer Mike Ryan said that safety Renee Stewart has a sprained left knee, is out for the game, but they were testing it for a torn MCL. He was asking Stewart is it sprained or is it torn? And judging from his reaction, he became visibly upset, and it doesn't look good.
Stewart, starting safety, is gone. It is 2nd down and 10 now for Brunell, and that's nearly intercepted at the 43 by Jason Belzer. A reminder, ESPN Sports Center highlights of tonight's game as well as reports from around the NFL. All today's sports news immediately following the conclusion of our game on ESPN.
Mark Brunell is facing 6 defensive backs for the Colts. Talk about a tale of 2 halves in a rough second half for Brunell and the Jags. Just can't get anything going throwing the ball.
Well, we talked earlier about how his passer rating seems to diminish as the game goes on. In the 4th quarter, it's only 58, so.
3rd and 10. And Brunell nearly sacked. And he is sacked. Chad Bradsky would not let loose. And when Bradsky gets a sack, you know he's going to follow with another one because he always gets his sacks multiply. He never has a 1-sack game. It's always 2 or 3.
Serial sacker.
Watch number 92 right off the corner, totally unblocked. A busted assignment. Look at the desire as Brunell pulls away. Bradsky finds an ankle.
So if that's 3 and out with an exclamation point, Parker's kick bounces out of bounds between the 35 and 40. They'll mark it at the 37-yard line. 10:58 left, and the Colts in control. 29-14, Indianapolis. Aerial coverage tonight being provided by the Bud 1 airship. Beautiful shot downtown Indy. There she blows.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. Bad choice of words.
Yeah,
in the Hindenburg.
Yep. First down, Indianapolis from the 38-yard line. This is Manning going deep for Harrison and knocked away. Great play by Aaron Beasley. Got inside position, got a hand up to knock it away.
Right, the Colts were going for the old juggler there.
There are the triplets, and so much made of the guys in Dallas, Aikman and Smith and Irvin through the years. And are these guys the worthy successors? Here are the numbers for tonight.
Well, Harrison's got like a St. Louis Ram receiving average there. Didn't Torrey Holt have 3 for 180 or something?
Yeah, you're right.
2nd and 10 from the 38-yard line. Now James. First down is a flag down back at the 37-yard line. James for the moment with a 19-yard gallop tackled by Logan, but it's going to come back. Jim Mora saying, I don't...
Offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
I'm thinking that was a bogus call on one Steve McKinney.
Nobody does hang dog like my man Jimmy Mora.
Yeah.
When he gets down, you know it. He was down on his defense after the last game. Did you see those quotes?
Yeah.
Well, we weren't very good defensively last year. We're not very good this year. I don't see us getting any better. I was thinking, there's vintage Jimbo when he gets down on something.
Or Manning's got to be real careful here not to force the ball. Jaguars need a turnover big time.
2nd and 20. Little dump off underneath James. And there goes Edgerrin. He gets a block. And he finally gets thrust out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Marvin Harrison threw the block. And so they dump it off on a 2nd and 20 underneath and come close to writing a finish to this one.
And Jim Mora's got to love this play. Manning finding one of his triplets. Edgerrin James, he threw this ball all of 3 yards. Watch the moves here. Jeff Saturday out in front, but this is so much of Edgerrin James getting into the secondary and then down the sidelines. Now he's going to challenge the defensive back right there before he goes out of bounds.
James to the 7. That's one of those plays, since it's a pass reception, when it's really a run. I mean, it should go into the rushing stats, but it won't.
Right, it's an extended handoff.
Yeah, sure.
Well, what that little pass did is it put Manning over 400 yards for tonight.
Yes, it did.
It's like a shovel pass without all the fringe on it.
Tom Moore watching Manning just set a new Colts passing mark, 409 yards. And that includes the Baltimore Colts, but he's gone by Unitas and Burt Jones. This is James to the 4-yard line.
Yeah, I was looking through the Colts stat book. You know, Jimmy Everett has more completions than Johnny Unitas. Have no idea what it means, Al. It's like the monolith in 2001.
Neither do I.
You lay hands on it, it emits a high-pitched squeal. Just leave it at that.
The injured Colt is Marcus Pollard, who was also hurt the last time they had the ball. He went limping off. They put him back in, and now he needs attention again. It'll be 3rd down and 2 when we come back with 9:04 left in the 4th. There goes Pollard limping off the field again. It's 3rd down and a short 2 for a first. 4.5 for a touchdown. Colts trying to, in effect, wrap it up here with under 9 minutes to play. Dominating in this half. Manning out of the shotgun. Fake inside give. Wide open Dilger.
Get out the blow dryer. This one's done.
Talk about a well-designed play. They even got the timeout there for the injury to Pollard to talk about it on the sidelines. They executed it perfectly with a fake to James, a little roll, and Dilger was wide open.
Well, Tom Moore watching his offense chalk up another 30-plus night. Manning has thrown 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. Vanderjagt with a point after. He extends his own Colts record. He has already passed for 413 yards tonight.
Having triplets is enough, but these are particularly precocious ones.
Mark Brunell, big hole to come out of right now. Meanwhile, here's Eric Dickerson with an update. ED.
Well, Marcus Pollard has went in with leg cramps. I asked Hunter Smith, will he come back in? He said he probably doubted because the game is in hand.
It certainly is at this point. 22-point advantage for the Indianapolis Colts, who will begin a 3-game road trip Sunday at Buffalo.
I couldn't have possibly gone to the blow dryer call too early, could I, Al?
I don't think so.
All right.
Teddy's already in the dressing room. This is Barlow. Up to the 17.
Now, you were talking about their future schedule, having to go to Buffalo and then to New England and then at Seattle. They haven't won in Buffalo since '94, and they haven't won in New England since '95. That's how important this home win was for the Colts.
I think you can make a case, Dan, this game being of greater import before the game to Indianapolis than to Jacksonville. Even though it's going to make Jacksonville 2-2, but with the Jets 4-0, and Indy lost and got a 1-2 with that road trip facing them.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of doubt around here.
Well, the Jets are the surprise team in the league. The Colts got to be surprised that they're so far ahead right now.
Well, Jags are about to go home for 7 out of their next 10 games in Jacksonville. They'll get well.
Freddie Taylor stopped for no gain as they start on the ground. Here's Melissa.
Al, something that a lot of people may not know about wide receiver Jimmy Smith, he played all last year with a cataract in his right eye. He didn't tell anybody. Now, the vision in that eye was about 50% of normal. He said he had the most trouble when he was on the right side of the field and during day games because of the glare from the sun. The way doctors describe it, it'd be like driving a car with a dirty windshield with oncoming headlights. That's what it's like. So it's amazing that under those circumstances, he still had 116 receptions.
And he had 7 here in the first half tonight, but he's out of bounds here as he holds it in. He has no catches in the second half.
Does that mean he would have had 232 last year, Al?
If
I'm interpreting that staff correctly. 116 with the 1 cataract.
Right.
2 clear eyes.
Right.
232. I'm just saying it.
I got you. I hear you.
Yeah. I'm just saying. We got 8 minutes to fill here, and I'm just saying, run with it. Pick that ball up and run.
I'm listening closely. I'm still trying to squat 600 pounds. 3rd and 12. Brunell sacked at the 4 by Ellis Johnson.
Well, Ellis got a little cranky with almost sacks in the first half. The big dog is feeding now.
And that is 5 sacks of Brunell tonight.
And they're doing it with just their front 4, too. The Colts like that zone blitz, but it's been Johnson and Bratsky putting the heat on Mark Brunell.
Well, they're missing Searcy. You got to remember Brunell's.
Let go, let go, let go!
Parker's pick. It bounces out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
Brunell's a lefty, so Baselli doesn't have his back. It would be Searcy, so Wiegert's over there. 4 sacks in each of the first 3 games, 5 tonight. That's a pretty big beating for Mark.
Well, Melissa told you the Jimmy Smith story, and we asked him yesterday about how he told his coach and his teammates.
Coach was like, you should have told me. You know, I should have been the first person you told. But I'm like, Coach, I didn't even tell my wife or my mom or anybody in my family. And, Mark didn't care. He said, I don't care what, if you have a patch over your eye, just as long as you catch my balls I'm throwing to you. And Keenan was a little upset. He thought I should have told him. But it was one of those things. Had I told Coach Coughlin or anybody, during the season, what would it have mattered? Still, I wasn't going to have the surgery until after the season anyway.
He would have had to been playing for another Florida team, the Buccaneers, to wear the patch over the eye. By the way, very sweet yesterday, Wayne Corbett in the end zone, huh?
You liked that, didn't you?
Keyshawn was just talking too much. I mean, he might be a star, but he was a dog star yesterday, 1 for 1. You had to love Corbett getting that catch at the end.
You're going to see your man Keyshawn in 2 weeks.
Well, listen,
We've got Minnesota against Tampa Bay.
I like him, but, he's going to get off Corbett. I'm beginning to wonder if the reason he doesn't like Corbett is because Corbett might be better than him.
2nd and 8 from the 41. Marvin Harrison, who gets position on Bryant. So here they are up by 22. Watt burning the clock. In the meantime, Manning now with 440 yards through the air.
And this gets Marvin Harrison over 100 yards on the evening with his 27-yarder. So 2 catches, and he's over 100 yards. Ball purposely underthrown by Manning. That's the type of non-verbal communication that Harrison has with his quarterback.
Boy, between Warner and Manning, you are looking at the next 2 great quarterbacks in the next generation. This one, Bacon.
James.
Oh, Edgar.
Touchdown.
Like that tackle. chance at that point.
No kidding. Mike Logan. Meet Edgerrin James. James hit him so hard it was almost as if James spiked him when he got in the end zone.
I remember that.
This is our Steadicam, Dennis. Jeff Zachary on the sidelines running along with Edgerrin James, staying out of harm's way.
Seemed like a couple minutes ago I was saying Edgerrin had 5 for 7 yards. Where's he at now?
There's Big Jeff. You talk about a tough job, and he does it greatly.
Down 20 pounds tonight alone. Vanderjagt to the point after. Triple fives up on the clock. That much time left. 48-14. Melissa.
Al, a pretty amazing story about Edgerrin James. I was talking to him over the weekend about how he spent his summers as a teenager. He worked as a migrant worker in Georgia harvesting watermelons. He would load these 30-pound watermelons onto trailers in 110-degree heat. He said he had to hide the money that he made because he would fear that the other workers may try to steal it. He gave half of that money to his mother, Julie, who was a cook at a school cafeteria, and he saved the other half for school expenses and for school clothes. Now, today, with the amount of money he makes in the NFL, his mother no longer has to work, and he told me that his motivation every day when he goes out on the practice field, when he goes out for games, is that his mother never has to work another day in her life.
She has to be a pretty proud mama tonight because he got off to a slow start tonight, but 22 carries for 89 yards, and his biggest play of the night was that pass reception. 2 catches for 65, so another big night for James. You know, one thing, Dan, the Jaguars have some serious problems defensively. They were kind of masked on opening day because they faced Cleveland. They shut out Cincinnati, but 2 weeks ago they were torched by Tony Banks in Baltimore, and tonight they're being torched by the Colts.
At about the same time the Jags were getting torched by Baltimore, the Colts were getting the same treatment by the Raiders. Well, the Colts have bounced back a whole lot better on defense than the Jags have.
Well, as far as pyrotechnics go, I'd worry more about the Tony Banks torching because this Colt team is going to be a fusillade against a few teams this year. I think Peyton's going to dissect a few teams.
We're going to see the Jaguars in 3 weeks from tonight in what has become a really bitter rivalry. It's Jacksonville against Tennessee. It's been fueled by the Titans, who not only beat the Jags 3 times last year, counting their playoff game, but in effect went down to Jacksonville last year and said, this is like our home stadium.
And that was really the dagger for Tom Coughlin to hear that from Jeff Fisher.
Beat them 3 times last year, and the time they played the year before, 4 consecutive losses for the Jags. They're steaming.
This is Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, you talk about the Titans. How about Steve McNair yesterday, coming in for 5 plays at the end, running the ball once, and then throwing 4, and the winning touchdown.
Well, it looks like they got a volleyball autocracy down there. One of the quarterbacks serves till he screws up. They rotate. Next guy comes in and takes it in. It's like a reliever.
Brady laying out, can't make the play. So the crowd beginning to file out, a happy crowd, as we take a look at the scene from the Bud 1 airship, Indianapolis.
Oh, we left our lights on. Al, look at that. I told you.
That's right, in our dorm.
Ah, we had a little toddy after the game, my friend.
Are you kidding? What kind of a question is that? 3rd down and 1 from the 25. This is Jimmy Smith up to the 34. You're carrying the IV, aren't you?
McCardle was sending up semaphore flags over. He said, listen, game's over. Can I get a catch here, bud? Not just one. Can I play?
You know, McCardle, 1 catch, 7 yards. Jimmy Smith, the big first half, nothing in the second. There's a flag.
There you go.
There's Cannon. Now the Colts, this is a team, you look at Tom Coughlin. Coughlin has been the architect of his team. Tom is, in effect, a one-man show in Jacksonville.
Offside defense. Number 53 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty remains first down. 5 yards to go.
Wayne Weaver gave Coughlin tremendous autonomy. There's MondayNightFootball.com and what you can see on that. And what you can hear and see on NFL.com is listed there as well. So with Coughlin given autonomy by Wayne Weaver. And Tom, I mean, is into everything. And I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. Brunell throws, and that's caught by McCardell. On the other side of the coin, you have the Colts, really a 3-headed situation. Jim Irsay is the owner, fairly hands-on. Bill Polian, though, is the general manager, and Bill has done a wonderful job. I mean, it's Polian who drafted Manning, who drafted James, and then Jim Mora. So it's interesting the way these two teams are constructed. And there is Bill Polian, who had such success for many years with the Bills.
Well, it just goes to show you there's no simple solution. Both systems can work because Coughlin does a heck of a job down there, and Polian probably the top talent guy in the league today.
Well, Coughlin wrote the blueprint for how you get an expansion team up and rolling. They don't look good tonight, but through the years, I mean, Jacksonville has been.
Call start, offense, number 77, 5 yards, still first down.
By almost any measurement, the most successful expansion franchise in the NFL and maybe in all sports.
Well, it'll show you how on top of things Coughlin is, too, that this year they had 5 picks in the 7th round. Now, some of those are supplemental picks from other trades and that, but 5 guys, they've all made the 53-man roster. I checked with Dano before the game. He told me 4 of them are dressing out tonight. So not only is Coughlin a good game coach, the guy's got a great eye for talent.
First and 15. Anthony Johnson.
This has been a total win and a total domination by the Colts. You look at their 500 yards they've gained on offense, but the stat that I like more than anything is that Peyton Manning has not been sacked 1 time tonight in 36 throws. That's how you throw for 440 yards.
Brunell coming back and making the catch on the ground at the 34, McCardell.
Well, the thing that amazes you the most about Coughlin is that he's done this all from the launching pad. This is an expansion team. They've been so competent, you tend to forget that. It's just amazing what he's done. 36 and 12 over the last 3 years. That is mind-boggling.
Jimmy Smith to the 24. People forget, too, when Ray Handley was fired in New York at the end of the 92 season, that man was their #1 choice. He turned them down. He opted to stay at Boston College. He'd been on Parcells' staff when they won the Super Bowl in '90. And then what Coughlin wanted was the control that he finally got in Jacksonville. He didn't want to go to New York. George Young was still there. He loved George. He respected him, but Coughlin knew if he was going to coach in the NFL, he needed to have the control that he felt would be necessary and comfortable for him to do the job he needed to do.
And you know, he runs it like the tuna does to some degree. The assistant coaches don't speak. There's one voice for the team, and it is Tom Coughlin. I think that keeps things simple. What's the old keep it simple, stupid?
Well, the one thing he's going to address, though, is his defense. They got smoked tonight. 2 out of 4 games now this year, they have just been totally without a clue in the secondary. Bernard Halsey is the injured Colt. But no pass rush, no secondary. That's not a good sign for Coughlin and his Jaguars.
Well, if you're going to have trouble in the secondary and you've got the zone blitz, aren't you just going to start sending everybody in the kitchen sink right then? You got to press the quarterback a little more.
Yeah, if I'm a quarterback and I know Tony Brackens is over there, I'd rather see him dropping into coverage than coming after me.
I'm a little surprised we haven't called Gary Walker's name at all tonight. I mean, he had 2 sacks last week. You thought he was coming on, but I don't think we've called his number.
You got to give credit to Larry Moore and Jeff Saturday then, because those are the guys that are responsible for blocking Gary Walker.
Wow.
From the 24. Dan Fouts talks about that, people listen.
Yeah, Dan's my tight end appraisal guy. When I need an appraisal on a TE, I call in Dano.
My pleasure, little buddy.
Well, Gonzalez plays it like a power forward, doesn't he? I mean, you throw it up, the guy's got rebounding ability. He can get anything.
He did play basketball at the University of California.
Sweeps the boards like a young Gussie Johnson for the Baltimore Bullets.
Here's the triplets, too, and what they did tonight. Fred Taylor got off to a great start. Nothing in the second half, though.
2nd and 10 from the 24. That is caught. That is McCardell. So on the stat sheet, it's going to look like a fairly decent night, but we know better. It's all in garbage time that he's picking up his catches and yardage.
Al, can I tell you something?
You certainly can.
Well, we'll wait for the football play to happen.
3 minutes to go. Anthony Johnson. So the 9. Yes, sir.
1911 Ray Haroon, first Indy 500 winner, average speed 76.60 mph. Took 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 8 seconds. And I think this game's coming up on that pretty soon.
I think Jim Moore is listening. I think he's just wondering what the heck he just said.
Listen, Jimmy and I are in constant contact. He doesn't make a move without consulting with me. This is how hands-on Coughlin is. Moore doesn't make a move unless he consults Coughlin.
That is the Pagoda, speaking of the Motor Speedway. It's about 10 miles from here, I guess, as the blimp flies. Yesterday they hosted the U.S. Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher, who drove us to the stadium tonight, won the Formula One race. Here's Brunel taking it to the 3.
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's such a great idea having Mark Brunel in the game right now. The game is over. Here is your franchise quarterback. He's running around. He's not quitting. He's throwing the ball, running around, but he is also in danger of getting hurt.
Good point. With 2 minutes to go. 2-minute warning. Coronation for Indy tonight.
Wait a second. Let me.
What do you do with that?
Folks, don't come to the booth yet. I got to tie my tie here.
No, you don't. Just sit down, huh?
I had no idea we were going to the booth this late in the game. I was getting into my travel talks. There we go.
This is what happens to Dennis at the end of the game. The cargo shorts are next, right?
What's all we going to a booth shop?
This is called vamping, baby.
I was almost into my jammies.
This is where you earn your big bucks.
I had my feety jammies on.
It is 3rd down and 1. And Brunel staying in the game. As Dan pointed out, the risk you run here is you lose somebody at this point, like Brunel.
Hey, Coughlin still thinks he's going to win this game.
That's what you have to love, though, about Coughlin. I mean, this guy he's into it all the way. Don Ohlmeyer, otherwise known as Olney, is our producer.
Coughlin's thinking, if we get 7 here, get an onside-er.
1st and goal from the 2. Boom! And that is Anthony Johnson, who gets taken down. So
is that young Mr. Morris?
Yeah, Rod Morris.
Number 94.
BYU.
You know where his mission was for BYU? Toronto. There's a nice assignment, huh? Always reading about these guys out in the Serengeti Plain. They sent old Robbie up to Toronto.
I like that.
Went up there to preach against the use of the 2-point rouge, or whatever the hell that role is. This field is too big.
End zones are 20 yards deep.
Danny, I can't even imagine. How many, what are you, 40,000 in this league? I don't even want to think about that, like 70,000. You as an Eskimo?
I tell you what, we're going to see a guy next week in Kansas City, Warren Moon. When you combine his yardage in this, the NFL, and that, the CFL, it's about 100,000 yards.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning eclipses his own Colt record tonight, 440 yards, and of course, Dad Archie, the quarterback mainly with the Saints from 71 through 84. And there was Archie, who played in some miserable years for that franchise. The funny thing was, when Archie retires and then Jim Mora comes down there, Archie is the radio announcer, so Mora has known Peyton since Peyton was a little kid.
Used to have him throw passes in practice when he was in high school.
2nd down and goal, and that is intercepted at the 1-yard line, picked off by Chad Cota. So we had Cota mic'd in the first half, and he ends his night with a pick here. And the Jaguars just want to get on the plane and head south.
Well, as most good stories, they end with a coda.
Oh, very good.
Thank you very much. Yes. But it's CODA, right?
That's why you're getting the big bucks. Oh, man.
All I know is that's a Oregon Duck picking off a Washington Husky, and the Ducks and Huskies are getting together next Saturday in Eugene for a huge game that Keith Jackson and Tim Brandt will be doing in the Pac-10.
Give me a little Keith Jackson, Albino.
Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you can't believe we've got Jim Gunn up here in the booth tonight, the Rockford Spouse. Jim comes all the way in from Southern California. Played a little golf with Jimmy during the week. Get the Colts, those big horses. Talk about John Elway. I tell you, they drafted him back in 1983. He said, no, I'm not signing there. Go to Denver. So what could have been for the Colts as you take a look at all of the guys who have called signals for the Colts since what would have been the beginning of the Elway era.
And it's possible that the Colt quarterback lineage might have been Unitas, Burt Jones, John Elway, and this kid, Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Elway had destiny on his mind even then. He was not coming near this franchise, the shape it was in then.
And he told him, and they were in Baltimore at that time, soon to, as Cosell would say, in the dead of night, the moving vans came in and headed west.
You are just like the Fred Travelina from football.
That's me, my man.
It's more like Rich Little.
All right. Yes, it is. And where is Rich these days? Well, we're going to Kansas City, but we'll be coming back here to wrap it up. Jim Mora, very happy man, walks off the field as his Colts rout the Jaguars.